Hey guys, good evening to everyone and thank you so much for joining. So yesterday we discussed about pending DNS records, that is 8. And next one we started other servers in the organization level. What are the couple of servers? It is not a mandatory every organization will maintain all those servers. Okay, already we have seen DNS server, DHCP server. Yesterday we completed what is database server and what is data classification, data types, and also PII data, PHI data. Then finally, what are the vendors or tools are available popular in the market. So those are all the things we discussed yesterday class. Today agenda, we can discuss about other servers. If time permits, we can go and we can discuss about network architecture diagram. So today agenda is, so couple of other servers we can discuss, and later we can go and we can discuss about network architecture diagram. So that is the agenda for today class. So fourth server, so far we completed 4. One is a DNS, next one is DHCP, next one is database server, next one is file server. So what is this file server? Basically what it contains, it is a centralized servers where all of the organization documents, files will be stored. Okay, so all of the organization documents or files will be stored, meaning here every organization contains different teams. That may be Windows team or Linux team or data science team or DevOps team and so on. So that file server we can store, and we will not give permission to each and every user whatever they are trying to access to the other files. You are a part of database team, then we can give the database file access only. You are belongs to security team, whatever files are stored in the related to security, that one only we will give. You are a part of DevOps team, then whatever DevOps folder is created, those access only we can create. So it is like RBAC. RBAC means role based access control. Whatever combination of the files or team files we configured or team files we stored in the file server, so we can give that particular access only. File admin guy will be there. That admin guy, he will create files based on the teams wise, and he can allocate the permissions or granting the access as per the your times. Okay, so if it is finance related, means only finance team can access. If it DevOps file means only DevOps team can access. If security files means only security team we can access and store. We can access, that's all. So that is our file server. So here, as I said, so according to whatever access it contains, that access also we will call privilege. So what privilege it contains, those access only we can provide. So additionally, nowadays, previously up to 2013 or 2012, everyone using a dedicated file server. Nowadays, everyone is migrating to cloud. So example, if it is Microsoft OneDrive, if it is a Google Drive, so those are all the different types of drives they are accessing. So in the drives, according to the team wise, they are storing the files. Okay, so nowadays everyone is migrating to cloud, and everyone creating the files and folders and also whatever documents they are storing in the cloud environment instead of dedicated file server. So before 2013 or 12 or 14, we have dedicated file server there. There we are storing all the files. Okay, so that is about file server. How we can define file server? It is a centralized server where all of the organization documents or files or reports will be saved or stored as per the team wise. Okay, so that is nothing but file server. Whatever team you are belongs to, that particular permissions only grants we can access, we can give normally. So file admin guy, he will take care of the file server. So who is the authorized person? File admin guy. So file admin guy, he will make sure that, okay, whether person has the entire file server access or only dedicated whatever role or whatever team he belongs to, that level of the access only it contains. So he will make sure that other files should not be accessed. Why? Because example, consider finance related reports. Why DevOps team is required file reports or finance reports? Why TechOps team or why security team is required to access the finance reports? Finance will be taken care by finance team. Okay, so according to that one, so we can provide the access to file server. Okay, that is called a role-based access control or segregation of duties. Role-based access control meaning here, based on your role, what our team folder they created in the file server. So that particular access only we will grant or will give the permission. So that is will be taken care of by file admin. So file admin will make sure that team-wise access controls only provided to respect to team members.
This will also.
What, Saruna? So example. So I'm putting inside of this particular members role-based RBAC. RBAC means role-based access control. According to your team, according to your role, that permissions or grants they will give. Example, a DevOps team. They can access, DevOps team can access only
This job will do IIM team, right, sir?
This job file server, file admin, if file server dedicated admin guy will be there, yes. Otherwise, yes, IAM or IDM, identity and access management. That's right.
Okay, sir.
Example, CyberArk. Example, CyberArk
Yes,
or file integrity monitoring tool. So those are all the different types of tools we have already in the market. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. DevOps team can access only DevOps related files or folders or reports. This is one of the example. As I said, couple of tools are available to provide the access. One is CyberArk. It's an identity and access management tool, IAM and IDM. So based on your identity, so based on your role, they will provide the access. Or team access. So we have one more, okay, PAM solution, privileged access management, PAM solution. Example, Microsoft. PAM access, privileged access management. Here, identity and access management. Identity and access management. And IDM means identity management. Okay, PAM means privileged access management. Okay. So we have one more tool is there. Varonis. Varonis, it's FIM tool, file integrity monitoring, file access related. Okay, file integrity monitoring. Whenever somebody is trying to do, okay, so unauthorized access, automatically this file integrity monitoring tool or PAM or identity and access managed, they will generate the alert. And automatically that alert will be come as a notification. Then security will take care. So whether really that guy is authorized, first of all, why alert or instant we received? So they will do the instant investigation, whether authorized person or not, something why he's trying to access. Okay, so those permissions normally he will validate. So that is about file server. Okay. So next one, SMTP server. So already we discussed this one, SMTP protocol and the ports and protocols. Once again, we can discuss about SMTP server. So SMTP server, obviously, you know, sending the mails and receiving the mails, we will use SMTP server. So here this is also called as UCS, Unified Communication Server. Next one also called as Exchange server, exchanging the communication between two people, Exchange server, email server, and also we can call it as Outlook 365, Outlook or Office 365, both 365. OS 365 is from Microsoft vendor. Now it is a very popular tool. Almost all the organizations, they are using Office 365 or Outlook. It's from Microsoft. So as I said, in SMTP server, we will configure a couple of important parameters or technical features. In SMTP server, we will configure a couple of important parameters or technical features. Anyone can explain about those parameters or features?
SPF, sir.
Okay, only SPF?
DMARC and DKIM, DK and path.
Header analyzer.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, technical features or parameters, what we will configure. So one is SPF, sender policy framework. So if you're configuring this one, phishing emails, we can block it automatically. Okay, sender policy framework. Next one is the DKIM, domain key identification message. Domain key identification message. Next one, DK, domain keys. Next one is return path, DNS record. Okay. So these are all, and also header analyzer. We have to configure mainly first and second one and third one. So one is sender policy framework. Second one is DKIM. Third was domain keys. Okay, so these are all some of the very important parameters we have to configure. So
DMARC is also important, right? DMARC.
Yes. DMARC, right. Yes. Yeah, I forgot. DMARC. Domain, message, authentication, receive code. So yeah, DMARC also very important. Yes, right. So what is meant by sender policy framework? Okay, what exactly this one will do? Why it is so important? So once we are implementing the sender policy framework, it is an basic email authentication mechanism. So if you are configuring sender policy framework, so I'll go and I'll explain detailed. So what is SPF? It is an email authentication mechanism or technique otherwise. Okay, it is used to prevent spamming emails, nothing but advertisement. What is the difference between phishing email and spamming email? Spam is mainly for advertisements. So in couple of things we will see. So example, if you are forwarding this message to 10 members, you will receive the iPhone. How many people received the iPhone in the class? At least one guy? No. So why they are doing all this spamming? They want to advertise their product basically. It is not an illegitimate activity or unauthorized activity. They will spend spamming part. That means water product they are purchasing or water product they are releasing into the market, They want to advertise. So that's why they will send it to the 10 members. So that 10 members, they will send it to 10 members. Another 10 members, they will send to another 10 members. Okay. Finally, nobody will receive the iPhone and so on. Okay. So that is the way how it will work out. It is an email authentication mechanism or technique. It is used to prevent spammer emails. Okay. If you are enabling that SPF, it will identify and it will block that particular spamming emails. So normally what he will do, the spammer or spamming guy, what he will do, spammer meaning here attacker, or basically spammer, he will spoofing of the domain. Spoofing of the domain, and he will send on behalf of. Example, spoofing of the original domain. For example, how we can spoof? So your email ID contains x.y at the rate of x.y at the rate of gmail.com. So this is the email. But what attacker will do? So he will put x.y same as it is, but he will spoof the original domain as test.gmail.com. Actually, this test.gmail.com is not existing. It's a fake domain. So if you want to create one domain, just we can pay 200 rupees in GoDaddy, and we can purchase one of the domain. So you can create one fake domain and he will use that particular domain. So in the similar way, example x.y, normal tcs.com is domain, or wipro.com is domain, or maybe infosys.com is domain. Now what attacker will do? He will create like a fake domain example dot. So infosys.com. Whether really example.infosys.com is existing in the reality? No. So, but whenever recipient, they are receiving the mail, now we are security person, now we are aware of what is the phishing and so on. But the HR team is aware whether this one is aware of by legal team, whether this one is aware by CEO or CTO, they are not aware of, right? These are all the security related issues, unless otherwise if you are educating or you are providing the awareness to the employees. Okay, obviously they will see only first name or last name only, whether this name is existing or not. So daily example, you are receiving one of the mail from HR, some x.y at the rate of infosys.com, you are receiving regularly. You will feel like, okay, this mail has come from the HR. So, but you will not check the domain name. You will not check the at the rate, whatever it is available. So that is the way how these attackers will try to trick the end user, and finally they will compromise the end user. They will gain unauthorized access or sensitive data exposure. They will ask money, or maybe they will provide some data breach. Okay, so that is sender policy framework. If I enabling the sender policy framework, it will do the authentication mechanism. Okay, so whether it is a genuine domain or fake domain, and it will prevent from the spamming part, advertisements and so on. Okay, that is SPF, sender policy framework. So if are enabling this one, then only, okay, so we can prevent the phishing emails or spamming emails. Okay, that is important feature. Next one is DMARC, domain message authentication receive code. So this is also we have to enable under the SMTP server. So every organization contains blacklisted domains and whitelisted domains. Okay, so blacklisted and whitelisted domains. So as per our business, we will create which one is blacklisted and which one is whitelisted. So what is this DMARC policy? Second one is DMARC policy. DMARC policy. If are enabling this policy, then whatever sender is sending an email from the domain, whatever is sending, it will indicate that their email messages are protected by SPF and DKIM. So it is basically DMARC policy combination of SPF and DKIM. DMARC policy combination of SPF, Central Policy Framework, and DKIM. So if you are enabling DMARC policy, it indicates that the domain, whatever it is configuring in the DNS server, is part of MX records, and also in the SMTP server, that mail is coming from the SMTP server. It will check and it will protect it by whatever message it is coming to us by SPF and also DKIM. And also it will tells to the receiver what to do, and also whether authentication methods passed or failed. I'm repeating once again. So it will allows to the sender domain to indicate that, okay, it will allow a sender or sender domains to indicate that their email messages are protected by SPF and also DKIM. SPF and DKIM. So meaning here, this DKIM, domain key identification message, for protection purpose. In between sender and recipient, so backend it will follow some key exchange. So now onwards, whenever you are receiving an email, you can see whether it is encrypted message or not. If it's encrypted message, meaning here DMARC policy is enabled and that process passed or failed. Okay. So example we have seen yesterday, right? In the whenever we discussed about MX record. So I went to one of the email. I will go and I will show you once again. So I clicked on Gmail here and I will open one of the email. Okay. So maybe this one. So I will click on show original. So SPF is pass, DKIM is pass, DMARC is pass. That means here on the Gmail server, they enable sender policy framework, they enable DKIM, they enable DMARC. If you are combining these two things, it is like encrypted message. That policy will call as a DMARC policy. DMARC policy. What about SPF? SPF is related to authentication mechanism. It will prevent from the spammers or phishing email attackers. That is SPF. So we have to enable the policy. If we are combining these two, then we'll call it as a DMARC policy. So DKIM meaning here is exchanging of the keys. So private key and public key. It is a backend process. We cannot see that front end. So every server backend, it will use a public key and private key. Whenever you are accessing the any server or any application, so backend it will exchange public and private key. So that is called domain key identification message. So that keys will be exchanged and finally encrypted channel will form. That we can see under the SSL TLS mutual authentication. Okay. So it will sender domains to indicate that their email messages are protected by SPF and DKIM. Okay. So what it will tell basically, it will tell a receiver what to do if authentication methods are passed or failed. Authentication methods are passed or failed. Meaning here, if you don't enable this SPF and DKIM, obviously DMARC is failed. If you are enabling, it will be pass. That is meant by DMARC policy. It's a combination of SPF and DKIM. Combination of SPF and DKIM. Okay. So if it is failed, meaning here, we have to suspect that one as a phishing email or spamming email. So if it is pass, means we have to consider that one as a genuine email or legitimate email. That is called DMARC policy. Okay. So DKIM meaning here, domain key identification message. So as I said, it will exchange the keys. It will exchange the keys. So what is this DKIM meaning here? It is a basically protocol it will identify an organization, take a responsibility for transmitting the messages, and also it will do the signing, SSL TLS certificates, verify signing certificate. Normally, these SSL TLS certificates will purchase from third-party vendor. That is called certificate authority. Certificate authority. In this similar way, if you are enabling this DKIM domain keys, so it will identify, okay, so whether that particular message, whatever we are receiving, it is certified or not, using public key and private keys backend. Okay, it is a protocol. It is a protocol that allows an organization to take responsibility of transmitting messages by signing mailbox, and also verify the certificate. So backend it will use domain keys. Those keys are public and private. So this one in brief we can discuss in the application security. All these are application security concepts, public and private keys. Okay, it is a protocol. What it will do, it will allows the messages whatever we are sending or whatever we are receiving. So responsibility of the mailbox of the organization. Okay, so basically this one will be certified by the organization. So based on private key and public key. So that is called DKIM, domain keys, basically domain keys, public and private. If are signing, then only encrypted channel will form between the sender and receiver. And even though attacker will come in between, he cannot take whatever mail we are sending and receiving. He cannot read it. So if the data is going in the clear text or maybe plain text, more chances are there to see the attacker. Okay, so that's all about sender policy framework, DMARC policy, and DKIM. I'm repeating once again. So sender policy is nothing but authentication mechanism or technique. So it will prevent the phishing emails or spamming emails from the attacker if are enabling this policy. So whenever any email is coming, so we have to validate whether it is a pass or fail. Who will do this pass or fail? This one will be validated by email investigation people. So we have separate team is there, phishing email investigation team. Even sometimes SOC team also has to validate these phishing emails. Okay. So second thing is, so DKIM, domain key identification message. So it is a protocol. Basically, every organization will certify and it will do some of the signs using the public and private key, whatever mail it is coming and it's going on in the transmission side. So it will say that, okay, so whether it is encrypted channel or not. So that is called DKIM. So if you're combining these sender policy framework and DKIM, finally we'll say DMARC. So that is nothing but domain message authentication receive code. Always these three should be passed. Otherwise, we have to suspect that email as a phishing email. So that is investigation, basically phishing email investigation. Okay, so that is about sender policy framework, DMARC policy, and DKIM. So these are the very important parameters. And written path, you know already. Written path is always equivalent to sender email address. So written path, we have to validate. It is equivalent to. It is equal to sender email address. So whatever sender is sending the mail, that one and also written path should be same. Otherwise, we have to suspect that is a phishing email. Okay, this is one of the validation we have to do. Next one is header analyzer. Header analyzer. Every email contains some of the HTML format of the mail. Okay. So what is the HTML format of the mail? So this is nothing but entire body of the mail. Okay, sender, recipient, sender IP address, recipient IP address, Sender policy framework, DKIM, return path, everything, total entire body of the content of the email. Basically, it's a total email. The total email in the form of HTML. So we have to take that particular header analyzer. As I said, whatever we've opened in the Google. So under this one, okay, so this is everything, we'll call it as a HTML format, and we have to analyze everything. This entire question also. How do you analyze the header analyzer? Whether will you follow manual process or will you follow automated tool or websites? Automated tool or websites meaning here, example, I will copy this one, HTML format up to body of the everything up to here. So now I will go to one of the tool like MX tool. So MX tool, it's one of the website. Under this one, I will click on this one. It's one of the investigation tool or website. We can go to, you can see couple of tabs are there. Super tool, MX lookup, block list, DMARC, diagnostics, email health, DNS lookup, analyze header. And click on analyze header because I have taken analyze header. So I have taken the header of the email and copy paste it here and analyze header. So now whatever investigation it is coming, we have to validate everything. Now you can see DMARC complaint, sender policy framework complaint, DKM is complaint. Finally, we can suspect this email as a genuine email. It's not a phishing email. This investigation basically. Okay. So this is mail has come from Sindhuja. Okay. She has sent it to me and she requested something in the Google email. Okay. So this is the way how we have to analyze. So now whatever HTML format is there, that one is converted into normal format. We can read and we can identify this one. So this is the header. Okay. So this is the way how we can identify, Okay. This we can see later in future once again. So that is about overall SMTP server. SMTP server, I covered a little bit investigation also here, but in future we can discuss again, practically how can we do investigation or forensic investigation. So next server, sixth one, Active Directory. Active Directory, AD, Active Directory. So it is one of the very, very important server in the organization level. And this one will be managed and maintained by Windows admin guys. Active Directory will be managed by Windows admin guys. So mobile directory. So mobile directory, what is my mobile directory? So directory of the mobile related to contacts list. So every contact has first name, last name, company name, email address, along with mobile number, right? Whenever you want to save the respective contact in your mobile. Okay. So same thing, Active Directory will maintain all the users information mainly, and also server information, mainly users information. What is the username and what is the IP address? Someone is asking, right? Last time, whenever we discussed about DHCP server, how can we identify, so which user is worked on so and so IP address along with username? So we have to use the Active Directory. But first of all, do you have access to Active Directory? No, we are part of security team. In case any Active Directory related queries will come or investigation, if you want to do, then we have to touch base with Windows admin guys. Windows admin guys. Normally, Windows admin guys also we will call it sysadmin guys, system admin guys. Okay, sysadmin team or Windows admin team, we have to contact whenever if we have any queries related to Active Directory. So how we can define this particular Active Directory? So we can define it is a directory server. It is a directory server similar to like a mobile directory, and it contains all the users information, all the users, comma, IP address, domain, and also all these servers and service accounts information. So that is Active Directory. Okay. So for suppose one of the attack is coming, in that scenario, if you want to change the password to that particular end user machine, then maybe we have to contact the Active Directory team or help desk team. Example, consider one of the attacker, he used some of the hacking and he compromised one of the CEO machine, or maybe not really CEO, any of the end user machine. First and foremost, what we have to do, we have to change the password as soon as possible. Otherwise, maybe he can delete or he can update or he can modify, he can change anything in the respective Windows system, right? So that how, so in that scenario, how we have to change the password, we have to contact the Active Directory team or help desk team. So then they will reset the password and then they will give the new password. Okay. So that is about Active Directory. It is a directory server and it contains the all the users, IP addresses, domains, and all the servers and service accounts information. So that is about Active Directory. So example. So before our class, I'm drawing this diagram. So it's not completed yet. So these are all the different formation. This is Active Directory server. This server is connected to one of the domain. Example, consider wipro.com. So domain name is wipro.com. So domain is wipro.com. And this is laptop, this is MacBook, this is workstation. This is desktop. All those are employees' machines. So whenever you are part of wipro.domain, then only you are able to access the Wipro respective domain. So nothing but when you are onboarding in a company or when you are joining in a company, you will receive the laptop, right? In that one, they will put your name under part of Active Directory, under part of wipro.com as a domain, and they will create one of the user in the Active Directory. Okay. So for every user, whenever they are joining in a company, they will create your username in the part of Active Directory. So even this is applicable to cloud also. In cloud, we will call it Azure Active Directory. In Amazon, we'll call it Amazon Active Directory. Okay. So now this guy is belongs to HR MacBook. She's using or he is using, and desktop is belongs to. So example, maybe DevOps team. And this workstation is belongs to security SOC team, our team. Maybe this laptop is belongs to machine learning or artificial intelligence, ML or AI. So these are all the team members. One laptop is belongs to artificial intelligence, machine learning user. MacBook is belongs to HR user. So desktop is belongs to DevOps user. Workstation is belongs to security team. So whenever these people are onboarding in a company, in the Active Directory, they will create one of the name, whatever name that user is belongs to. So example, this guy name is Suresh. So this guy name is Mahesh. This guy name is Ramesh. This guy name is Ganesh. So this is the way how normally the example names. So Mahesh, they will create one username along with their surname as well. Suresh, because a lot of people will be there under the Suresh name, right? A lot of people will be there under the Ramesh name, right? So that's why along with Suresh and also their surname, they will add in front of the username. Like a Suresh M or G Suresh. In such a way, front or back, they will create. Otherwise, some of the companies, they'll create employee ID also. It's a unique ID number for each and every employee. That is also fine, but it should be unique. Okay. So now, so these are all the users information will be there in the Active Directory. Whenever any person is joining in the example DevOps team. So one more guy is joining newly. One more guy is joining newly into DevOps team. Okay. Today he's onboarding. So now he's a part of DevOps team. So we will create his name also under the Active Directory. Example, his name is Somesh. Somesh. So now this guy, you can see now DevOps belongs to two persons. One is Ganesh, one is Somesh. So they will group together in a single team. So the Somesh and Ganesh, they will group together because they are part of DevOps team. They're a part of DevOps team and they are belongs to single team. Finally, this creation of the group, we will call it as Active Directory group. Similar type of team members, we will create a one group that is called Active Directory group. So one more new guy is joining in security team. So his name is some X. Then Suresh and X is belongs to security team, and these two part of security team. That is called security Active Directory group. In the similar way, so one more artificial intelligence guy is joining in the company, and they will create Y as a username, and Mahesh and Y belongs to artificial intelligence group. In the similar HR, Ramesh along with one more guy G or Z. So they will create and they will put under the HR group of the Active Directory. That similar type of employees we will form under one group or we will create under one group. That group we will call it as a Active Directory group. Who will do this one? This one will be done by Windows team or sysadmin team or else system admin guys. Okay, what is meant by Active Directory group now? Similar group of people or team members will create a group. Similar group of people or team members will create a group in Active Directory. This group we will call it as Active Directory group. Okay. So that is meant by AD group. Who will do this functionality? This functionality will be done by who will create or manage Active Directory. This one will be managed by Windows admin or sysadmin guys. Sys means system admin guys. Their job is that one only. Even for these people also, they will ask what is IAS server, what is registry keys, how we can host these certificates in the Windows servers, what is port and protocol. If you are going for the Windows admin opportunities or job vacancies, they will ask all these interview questions. What is mean by Active Directory group? What is IAS server? What is mean by port and protocol? Couple of ports and port numbers they will ask in the interview. That is related to Windows admin guys or system admin guys. Okay. So popular tool related to Active Directory. Microsoft. Actually, this concept came from Microsoft only. Okay. So that is about Active Directory. Now, one more thing is there, domain controller, DC. So data center, we have discussed one more thing. One more DC is called domain controller. DC means domain controller. So what this domain control will do? So it is a service, it will run on top of the Active Directory. Okay, whenever user, for suppose, your office is starting at 9 o'clock and it is ending at 6 o'clock. Morning 9 o'clock, your office is starting and your shift is closing at 6 p.m. So obviously, any employee, what normally they will do? So they will log into the laptop or MacBook or workstation or desktop. So if they want to log in, obviously, they have to enter the username and password. Even personal laptop also will enter the username and password and click on login button, right? In the similar way, organization level, so they will create one of the domain group. So if it is TCS means TCS domain, if it is Wipro means Wipro domain, if it is Accenture means Accenture domain, if it is Cognizant or CTS means Cognizant domain. In such a way they will create. So whenever this user at 9 o'clock is entering the username and password and click on the login button, this domain controller will validate whether this end user is existing in my database or not. So whether this authentication is successful or failure. Okay. So domain control, what exactly it will do? It will provide authorization part. Whenever user is giving the username and password and click on the login button of the respective laptop or MacBook or workstation or desktop, in that scenario, those requests will go to the backend domain controller, and domain controller will validate, first of all, this user belongs to my domain or not. It will validate that one. After validating the domain, then it will validate this user is existing in my domain, in my organization or not. So that is called domain controller. So it is a centralized authentication and authorization server. Authorization server. So that is nothing but domain controller. Okay. SIM tool. What is my SIM tool? Our main tool is SIM tool only, correct? It is a log collection, log analysis, log processing, log monitoring or alerting tool. That is called SIM tool. So log is nothing but any computer activity or any action of the computer you are doing. Maybe you are accessing the file, backend some of the logs will be generated. You are deleting the file, some of the logs will be generated. You are watching one of the movie in the YouTube, some of the logs will be generated and so on. Whatever activity you will do in the laptop or MacBook or any device, backend some of the logs will be generated. But specific to domain controller, it is authentication failure and authentication success. Authentication failure and authentication success. Meaning here, if the employee is trying to give the credentials like a username and password and click on login button, either authentication success meaning here, he will log into the laptop. If the authentication failure meaning here, maybe credentials are wrong, maybe typo error, okay, maybe his name is not at all existing in the domain controller. So that is nothing but authentication success and authentication failures. These logs only we will integrate it to our SIM tool. So what is the SIM tool definition? Log collection. Log collection, where it will collect from every device, it will collect the logs. That may be laptop, that may be MacBook, that may be server, that may be database, that may be application, entire organization, whatever devices are available, whatever servers are available, whatever applications are available, what infrastructure is available, what cloud is available, all those backend activity of the logs, it will be integrated to SIM tool. But specific to domain controller, user authentication success, user authentication failure. User authentication success, user authentication failure. So that is about domain controller. It is a centralized authentication and authorization server. It will check the identity of the user basically. Okay. So it will validate whether employee is a part of domain or not, and also it will verify identity of the employee. So whenever you are logging in, there are two options will come. One is authentication success. Nothing but you are able to log into laptop or MacBook or server and so on. Authentication success, nothing but log into system. Second one is authentication failure. Second one is authentication failure. So nothing but is not able to log in. Employee, he or she is maybe not able to log in. So that is authentication success and authentication failure. Every authentication success, every authentication failure, especially in the Windows operating system, it will generate one event ID. Event ID. Because this is the activity, right? So for every activity backend, it will generate one ID number, one ID number. That ID we will call event ID, event ID. So what is by event ID? Whatever the activity is happening in the Windows operating system, it will generate one event number. Event number is called as event ID number. Okay. So for authentication success, if you want to say one more thing, event meaning here, abnormal activity of the log will called event. Event management. What mean event management? So whenever some of the functions or ceremonies or anniversaries or birthdays or marriage days, it's happening, they will do some of the event things, events they will conduct, right? Functions, festivals, whatever it may be. Event management, whether will you celebrate a daily birthday? No. Whether will you celebrate anniversary day daily? No. That is like an event. It's like abnormal activity. It's not like a normal activity. Okay. So for event ID success and event ID failure, abnormal activity of the log will call it event. That means success or failure. Especially in the Windows operating systems, it will generate one of event number. That event number is called as event ID. For example, if you want to see what events are generated in my laptop, what are actions I am doing in my laptop, how we can check that one. So we have to go to the event viewer. Okay, so I'm clicking on search button and I'm going to event viewer. Yep, I will click on this event viewer. Okay, now you can see whatever time I accessed, whatever time I logged in, everything it will show. So you can click on Windows logs. Application, security, setup and system and forwarded events. So what about domain controller logs? So security is a part of domain controller logs. Security is a part of domain controller logs. Okay, so nothing but here audit fail or passed, login successful or failure. Who will verify that one? That one will be verified by domain controller. Even that is logs will be generated in our systems. In our system. Example, you can see 4624 Windows logon successfully. Okay, 4672 special logon. Okay, so 5379 user account management work read or credentials are read. So next one is 4625. If something I will do, forgetting the passwords, I entered 3 or 4 types, that time failures will come. Okay, so these are all the event IDs also we have to remember. This entire question, guys, entire question. Example, can you give the 3 or 4 examples to event IDs? Event IDs. Okay, so 4624. So event where we will see normally event ID 4625 is belongs to failure login attempt or authentication failure. Authentication failure. Okay, 4624 successful login. Next one is 4672. Just now we have seen 4672 special logon. All these are interview questions. Especially failure is very, very important. Special logon. So these are all some of the event IDs. These are all some of the event IDs. We can see once again under this intro. Okay, so nothing but these are all logs basically. Backend some logs will be generated. So not only auditing related logs, even you can see application related logs, whatever applications we are hosting in my laptop, we can see that one. Setup related logs. Okay, system health checkup related logs. Then we can see forwarded events. So these are the 5 different types of logs we will see under Windows operating system or Windows servers. It's an entire question. What are the different types of logs under Windows logs or Windows operating system or Windows server? What are the different logs? Application, security, setup, system, and forwarded events. These logs only we will integrate. These logs only we will integrate it to SIM tool, because most of the attacks who will do normally. So whenever any end user, they are trying to do some of the activity. Example, I want to try to download some of the file from the internet. That file has maybe some of the issue or malware or any virus and so on. So that time automatically here, one of the application related log will be generated. Okay. So in such a way, every log we have to integrate to SIM tool. This we can discuss later. I'm giving too much in depth. Okay. So domain controller, what you learned from this one? Domain controller is nothing but it is centralized authentication authorization server. Whenever user is trying to log into the respective laptop or workstation or server or so on, it will validate that particular employee is available in the organization or not. Basically, identity of the person. Identity of the person. That is about domain controller. Okay. So they will ask in the interview, what is the difference between Active Directory and domain controller? It's one of the interview question. What is the difference between Active Directory and domain controller? So Active Directory is a directory service. It will provide the users, servers, usernames, and IP address information or domains information. That is the Active Directory, similar to like a mobile directory. So domain control is nothing but on top of this Active Directory, it will run on top of this service, and this service will validate whether that employee belongs to the organization or not. So nothing but authentication success or failure. So that is about domain controller. Okay, that is the difference between Active Directory and domain controller. Okay. So next one.
Sir, can you say that it's a domain controller is a part of Active Directory?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay, sir.
So next server is application or web server. Application or web server. Okay. So this one basically application architecture. Application architecture contains basically who will do this application architecture. This one will be developed by development team. Development team. Example, this one is called application development team or maybe web development team, like a Java, maybe Python, or maybe JavaScript, or HTML, or maybe C# or ASP.NET, Angular, and so on. So every application architecture contains 3-tier architecture. 3-tier architecture. What is by 3-tier architecture? So here, user layer, second one logical layer, third one is database layer. User layer, logical layer, database layer. This is called application 3-tier architecture. If application developers, they will go the interview, they will ask this question. What is meant by application 3-tier architecture? User layer, logical layer, or database layer. This user layer also called it as a console, user console. Example. So maybe I want to add one more account here. So maybe add another account. It will ask username and password, right? So this is called user layer. Whatever right now I'm sharing the screen, this is called user layer. User console otherwise. So wherever you are providing input, that may be username and password, that is called user layer or user console. Then what about logical layer? Logical layer meaning here, if I'm entering here email address or phone number, clicking on next button, how that page will be appear. So developers, they will use some of the logic. And if you are entering the password, how automatically it will log in. Moving from one page to another page. So this development team, they will apply backend some of the integers, characters, functions, Java programming languages, OOPS concepts, or data structures, and so on. Finally, they will create a logic. That is called logical layer. So example, for suppose, if I'm entering here, so cyber RKM. So and I'm clicking on next button. How this logic is working on? That is logical layer. So once I'm clicking on the next button, how that particular process will work, that is called logical layer. This is basically logic. Who will define this logic? Obviously, this one will be designed or developed by application development team or web development team. This is the logical layer. Finally, database layer. Third layer is database layer. So database layer meaning here, after entering my password, clicking on the next button, so backend Gmail server will validate whether this person is available in the Google database or not, Gmail database or not. That is called database layer. Okay. So now what is we are discussing now? We are discussing about application or web server. So this application or web server will act as a intermediate between database layer and user layer. Okay. Application server will act as a intermediate or gateway between user and database layer. Okay, user and database layer. That is called application server or web server. Application server or web server. On top of this application server, web server only, we will host the application. We'll host the application. Example, facebook.com or youtube.com will host on maybe Windows servers or maybe on the Linux servers. Okay. So that is about application or web server. Okay. So here on top of this application server, we will host. Host means we will deploy or will implement the application. Okay. So nowadays we are migrating to microservices platform, Kubernetes platform, and also Docker and container platform. Okay. Now it's a trending one, right? It's a part of DevOps plus application development. So they will use these servers. Example servers are Apache web server, Tomcat. Okay, so these are the two popular servers most of the organizations they will use. Spring also, Spring, Apache, Tomcat. So these are all the couple of web servers normally organizations will use. Okay, so these are all free of cost. So that is about application server or web server. These application server or web server logs also we have to integrate to the SIM tool. Okay, so that is about application or web server. Then I think these are some of the servers. So far we discussed DNS, DHCP. So then we discussed about file server, then database server, application server, SMTP server. Okay, so Active Directory and domain controller. So these are some of the very, very important servers. There are a lot of other servers also we have. Microsoft, Linux. Okay, so these are some other servers. Okay, Microsoft we can discuss. Microsoft servers. So Microsoft server from Microsoft company. So here example we have seen on top of the DNS server, not on top of the Microsoft operating system, we'll configure DNS or DHCP, right? So that is one of the Microsoft server. Example Microsoft servers are 2008. It's already legacy or outdated one. Legacy, whenever we are referring, it's a old server and the vendor will not provide any patch updates. That is called legacy. So meaning here it's a warranty is over. It is useless. So indirectly, if I want to say hash words, okay, so it's a legacy and old and warranty is over. Vendor will not provide any patch updates. That is meant by legacy or old. So whenever any applications are running on top of this legacy old servers, so as much as possible or as soon as possible, we have to migrate to the new servers. Otherwise, more chances are there from the attacker point of view. These servers will get compromised very quickly. So that is 2008, 2012, 2016, 2018, 2019. Most recent error is 2021. Once again under here, R1, R2, these are different combinations will be there. So that is about Microsoft servers. So next one is we have another flavor of the servers, Unix operating systems, Unix servers. So under Unix, we have, so Unix is a flavor. Under this flavor, example, fruit is a flavor. Under fruit, we have a lot of categories, right? So example, watermelon, banana, pineapple, okay, grapes, and so on. So in this similar way, Unix is an operating system. Under this one, we have Red Hat Linux, RHEL, Red Hat Linux. Next one, we have Debian. Debian. Next one, Ubuntu. Next one, we have container. This is also called Docker. Container Docker. Next one, we have CentOS. So these are some of the popular under the Unix operating system. Now, almost in the cloud environment, we are using Docker and container with platform of the Unix or Red Hat or CentOS. It's a very popular one now. Everywhere we are using this one. Now Kubernetes platform also came into the pictures. Now serverless also we are configuring. Serverless also. Okay. So these are some of the very favorite Unix operating system. So most of the clouds, they will use these Unix only. As compared to Microsoft, now Unix is very famous. Under that Unix also once again. So Red Hat, Ubuntu, Debian, container, Docker, it's a very popular, it's a trending technology in the market. Okay. So now coming to Microsoft, these are all servers. Microsoft operating systems. So like laptop or MacBook and so on. Microsoft personal devices. So we have seen from when 1976 Charles Babbage is identified computer. So that day onwards till today, there are a lot of versions of the Windows, it is changed. So example, Windows XP, Windows Vista. Next one is we have Windows 7.0, Windows 8.1, Windows 9.0, Windows 10.0, and Windows 11.0. What the latest version of the operating system of the Windows for personal devices? Windows 11.0. What is the latest Microsoft Windows Server? 2021. So you have to differentiate. These are all the different types of servers, and also these are all the different types of operating system of the laptop and MacBook. All these are called end user machines basically. That may be laptop or workstation or desktop. Mac is different. Mac is from Apple. Okay. So that is about the servers and personal devices. This one will be used by end users. Nothing but end users whenever I am referring employees. Okay. So that's all about overall servers. Even sometimes we can call some of the tools also servers. Example, antivirus server, DLP server, SM tool also will call server. Okay. So those things also will call it as servers. Okay. So that's all about overall servers. So that is, I think, more than sufficient, whatever I taught. So then actually today I thought to start one more topic is called network architecture diagram. That's okay, fine, not an issue. So tomorrow we will continue network architecture diagram. So what are the servers we discussed? DNS, DHCP, SMTP, okay, database servers, application servers or web servers, then Active Directory, domain controller, Microsoft, file server, Unix operating system servers, and so on. Not only this server, there are a lot of other servers also. BSD, Sun operating systems, middleware, there are a lot of others. Okay, so that's all about overall servers. Most of the organizations they will use in the development of the respective applications and regular their activity of the business operations. Okay, so tomorrow topic is network architecture diagram. So tomorrow we'll continue. I think tomorrow I will take it around 7 or 8. Okay, so do you have any queries now?
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, in case of DMARC policies, sir, so actually SPF and DKIM have to pass. At that time only DMARC will pass, DMARC will pass, right, sir?
Exactly, that's right.
So if
Yes,
in case of SPF and DKIM, anyone is failing, then what is the result of DMRK, sir, DMARC?
DMARC, SPF and DKIM is subset of DMARC, you are right. So in that scenario, we have to enable DMARC policy also. We have to suspect that one as a phishing email. Now we have to go on, we have to validate IP address validation, domain validation, header analyzer. Additionally, even we have to validate some of the things like malicious URL link, attachments. That one, all those things we will discuss under the phishing email. I will repeat once again all those.
Okay, means is there any possibility SPF pass and DKMI fail even though DMARC showing pass in any
Yes,
cases?
it is. Yes, it will be sometimes. In that scenario, something suspecting you are no, and you are not able to do judgment or justification for that particular issue, then we have to contact the SMTP server team. So they have separate team will be there, that is Excel server team or email team. If you are contacting them, then they will clarify whether it is enabled or not.
Okay. In which specific condition tools acts as a server, sir?
So tools, see, basically server is nothing but tool only. We will say antivirus server, that is also tool. It's not a like a, so server or tool, we will consider both are same only. Actually, it is not a server, it is tool also. It's both are same only basically.
Okay. Piece of software, nothing but.
Piece of software, it is agent, that is different. Piece of software will install on the end user machine, that we can discuss in the endpoint security. That time we'll clear about what is meant by agent and what is meant by server and how it will communicate and vice versa.
Okay, clear, sir. Thank you very much.
You are welcome, Gafur. Muhammad, sorry.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, how will be the questions will be framed on the domain controller and Active Directory in the interview, sir?
So they will ask like directly, what is the difference between Active Directory and domain controller? So as compared to these two, they will expect more event ID numbers. So like example, authentication login failure, what is the event ID? Authentication success, what is the event ID? Not only this one, they will ask couple of others also. What is special logon? What our account created? What our account is deleted? So what is the group management event ID? We have more than, I think, approximate 1000 event ID numbers are there. So it's impossible as a human being, we are able to remember all those. Even if you are by-hatting also, we cannot remember. So that's why a couple of important things we have to remember. Example, forget about success. So always we will consider about failure. Why? Because attacker will try to do the trial and error method and use the permutations and combinations. He will try to compromise the end user system or server and so on, right? So whenever failure is coming, that one we have to consider. Okay. So that time we will go and we will check. Coming back to your question. So they will ask, most of the cases, they will not ask like what is the difference between Active Directory and domain controller. So they will ask like event ID numbers.
Okay, sir.
Clear?
Will be how many times the failure has been will be counted or how many times passed? It will be noted, sir, in that.
Yeah, it's an account lockout policy. because even if you're trying to log into applications like, okay, HDFC net banking or ICICI net banking or maybe SBI net banking and so on, maximum attempts are 5. After 5 attempts, automatically it will be locked out. What is the reason behind this one? Maybe HDFC net banking server or ICICI net banking server, it is suspecting some of the attacker is trying to do illegal activity or illegitimate activity. In the similar way, even in the organization level also, we have to apply account lockout policy. Whenever user is trying to do more than 5 attempts or 10 attempts, automatically account should be locked out. Why? Because attacker will try to use different types of combinations and trial and error method and permutations. He will try to compromise the end user system by guessing the passwords, correct? So
Yes, sir.
that's why we have to implement account lockout policy. It will vary from organization to organization. I cannot give the one proper solution for this one. Some of the organizations, they will consider 3 attempts. Some of the organizations, they will consider as a 5 attempts. Some of the organizations, even they will consider as a 10 attempts also.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Any other? Okay, guys, thank you so very much. And thanks for joining the call once again. Tomorrow, I think we'll continue at maybe 7 o'clock. Okay, so good night.
Thank you.
Good night, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Good night, sir.